Idaho on Your Side is proud to partner with the Idaho Statesman and Idaho Education News to present the 2014 Republican State Superintendent Debate.
And good evening to you. Welcome to the On Your Side Republican primary debate for Superintendent of Public Instruction. So glad you're joining us for this special broadcast of On Your Side tonight at 6 o'clock. Of course, with Election Day just 3 weeks away, tonight is your chance to get to know the candidates on the Republican side of the ticket. 3 of the 4 candidates are in our On Your Side studios tonight. Sherry Ibarra is the Federal Programs and Curriculum Director in the Mountain Home School District. She also served as a teacher and vice principal in the district. Randy Jensen is the principal of William Thomas Middle School in American Falls, a job he's held for 25 years. He also served as a teacher at the school for 4 years before taking the principal's position. And Andy Grover is the superintendent of the Melba School District, a job he's held since 2010. He's also worked as a teacher in the Bonneville School District and served as the Melba principal before becoming superintendent. Not with us in studio tonight is John Einen, who's a teacher in the Cottonwood School District. He did send us a statement saying that he regrets that he could not join us for the debate tonight. He had a previous school engagement that he was obligated to attend. Now, let me show you our esteemed panel for this evening who will be asking the questions. Bill Roberts, education reporter and writer for the Idaho Statesman and a partner with the On Your Side debate. Kevin Richard from Idaho Education News, a writer on that blog, also Idaho Education News, a partner with On Your Side. And of course, our very own Don Nelson, today's 6 On Your Side co-anchor with me at the 5, 6, and 10 o'clock broadcasts. Before we get through tonight, let me say a little bit about what our rules are going to be so that everybody is perfectly clear. Candidates will have 90 seconds to answer questions given to them from our panel. They'll receive a 30-second warning with a yellow light, and when time is up, they'll get the red light. We will also allow time for rebuttal and follow-up questions at my discretion. We want you to be a part of this debate tonight. What are your questions and comments for our candidates? You can pose those by posting them on our Facebook page, that's Idaho On Your Side, or on Twitter. You can use the hashtag IDOYS. Once again, everybody, thank you for being here for this first debate of the season. Let's get right to it. Our first series of questions tonight will be answered by all 3 candidates. The first question tonight coming from Kevin Richard.
Candidates, you all come into this campaign with extensive experience in the public education system, either in the classroom or in administration or both. Can you give us a specific example of how that experience would affect or inform your work as state superintendent?
Mrs. Ibarra, would you take that question first, please?
Thank you, I will. It's a pleasure to be here this evening and an honor. I want to say thank you for the invitation. I have nearly 20 years of experience in all phases of education, including classroom teacher, vice principal, principal, federal programs director, and curriculum director. With that experience, I also have extensive education with 4 degrees and nearly 3 endorsements from the state of Idaho. In my background also is the fact that my leadership responsibilities and excellence has been proven through the fact that I've taken a failing school to 4-star status, and I believe that's what Idaho's looking for in the next state superintendent. That would be our job and our focus, and that's what qualifies me in my background to serve.
Mr. Jensen, your response.
The most important thing I've done is 25 years as principal at William Thomas Middle School is build a collaborative environment. And I think that's going to be the most important skill for our next superintendent of education to have too. The ability to work with different stakeholders, different groups, in creating the best education system possible in Idaho. When I started as principal at William Thomas Middle School, I know the only way I would be really successful is if I could get teachers, parents, and community members to all come together and work as one in building a great school. And we've had a lot of great success doing that. Our school is known as one of the best middle schools, not only in Idaho, but all across the United States. 3 times we've been a national showcase school in the last 5 years. Now, that collaboration between parents, community members, teachers, and students really is the key. At the State Department, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the collaboration between the other stakeholder groups, Teachers Association, Administrators Association, School Boards Association, business leaders, and the legislature. whichever candidate is best able to work collaboratively with all those groups, bringing them together for the best education possible for our students, is the person that should get this job.
All right. And Mr. Grover.
You know, that's a great question for several different reasons, but first because it shows that being a teacher, I've been able to work with kids at the ground level and show them success. I still, even now that I'm running for the state superintendent position, I get emails and Facebooks from all my old students wishing me luck and telling me what they're doing with their life. So it's great to see the success they had. Then as a principal, being able to set curriculum, being able to work with teachers and train them so that our students have the best teachers in the classroom. And now as the superintendent, which oversees all aspects of the school district. And again, it's about student success. It's about helping those students. And I've shown a track record now of being able to help those students and be successful in the school system. You know, our school system, our school districts set up opportunities for these kids so that they're successful not only in school but after. You know, we've set up programs where kids can earn next year up to 40 credits, dual credits, that'll help them move on to college. We've set up 8 different career certifications so that these students can find job skills. So as we move forward, it shows the ability I have to do this job.
Thank you very much. Our second question to all of our candidates again. We will be starting with Mr. Jensen this time. Our second question coming from our Idaho Statesman partner, Bill Roberts.
All of you have classroom and education experience, but shaping the state's educational policies requires an understanding of Idaho politics. You will have to convince education stakeholders, the State Board of Education, of course the legislature and the governor, that your path is the right path. I want you to discuss specifically your political skills. How connected are you to the power structure in the state, and how you intend to maneuver the political arena to get what you say kids need?
Well, fortunately my experience is in a school working with kids and teachers and parents, but because of the success that we have had at our school in American Falls, I believe there's a lot of trust and confidence that the legislative leaders, the governor, business leaders, and the stakeholder groups, they'll have in my leadership ability. And with that leadership ability, we'll be able to pull that group together. And it's really important that there's a unified front to benefit the kids of Idaho. Now, the last 3 months, I've tried to engage myself into becoming somewhat of a politician and work with legislators, meet them, listen to them, listen to political leaders. And I think that what I've found all across the state is that really people want our education system to be the best possible. They want to do what's best for kids. They just need someone with a strong vision, someone who can work with all of them in a supportive way to help do what's best for our kids in Idaho. And I believe that because of my leadership ability, because of my history, my track record of success, the people in Idaho and those groups will have trust and confidence in my leadership abilities.
Mr. Grover.
You know, the importance of being able to work collaboratively or as a team is what's going to make this thing go forward. And having those connections at the legislative level is one more area where I have experience in. I've chaired different committees for the State Department. I've been down and talked before the legislators and currently work with most of the leadership in the legislature. So I have that experience going in. And it's just like when you work with a district team and working on the different levels and getting all parties involved, whether it's teachers, parents, students, and making important decisions. It works the same when you get to the State Department level. Now you have the State Board and you have the legislators, and you have to be able to work collaboratively and in a team effort to move education forward. We have the 20 recommendations from the Governor's Educational Task Force that people have already bought into. Teachers, the legislature, parents, and so moving that forward is going to be the direction that I will take this department.
And Mrs. Ibarra.
This is one of my favorite questions. I don't think that Idaho is looking for a political leader. They are looking for an educational leader, and I am very strong in that sense. That does not mean that politics are not involved in education. As a person who has worked their way through this system from a classroom teacher all the way up to a curriculum director, which happens to be third in command of a district that is the size, has 7 schools and nearly 4,000 students, they're looking for an educational leader. I've navigated through the politics by meeting with senators such as Senator Keogh and Senator Getty. I've spent hours at the Capitol watching sessions. I've also met with the Attorney General, but I have more than 257,000 little reasons, grades K through 12, to maintain my focus on education. I will navigate the politics, but I will focus on education.
Thank you all. I'm sure that topic will come up again. On Your Side's Don Nelson is following our questions and comments tonight as they come in from you through our Facebook page, Idaho On Your Side, and also on Twitter using the hashtag IDOYS for On Your Side. Don, your first question for the evening.
Thanks, Michelle. Our first question from Twitter. A book in the Meridian School District is causing quite a bit of controversy after some parents called the book inappropriate for students. Now, S.L. Fisher wants to know, what is your opinion of the Diary of a Part-Time Indian controversy, and how would you advise districts to handle similar incidents?
Mr. Grover, would you please start?
I will, and it's a great question, and it leads back to the local control of those school districts. You know, the state sets a standard, and in our case right now, it's the Common Core standards that we have. And then districts get to choose how to meet those standards. They choose the curriculum, they choose all the stuff that meets those standards, and part of that is choosing the literature and the reading material that's used in the school districts. And so when you get controversial books that sometimes come up, that's a school choice that chose that book. That is not something that was directed by the state or the feds or anyone else. And so local control still has the power to remove that book, and there's a process you go through. And it comes down to the culture of your individual communities. Are they conservative? Are they liberal? You know, it's very important that people understand that it's still the local control that gets to pull those kind of books out of the reading material. So, you know, we have a group that oversees our books in the Melba School District, and we make sure that it meets our local beliefs.
Let me ask you this as a follow-up. Is that book in your reading list in the Melba School District?
It is in the library.
But not in the classroom?
But not in the classroom.
All right, Mrs. Ibarra, would you please answer the question?
That is a great question. I'd like to thank the viewers for asking. That means they are being an active member of their community, as we want parents to be focused on education. There are policies in place, and that is, I concur with my opponent, that is left up to each local school district with policies that are in place. If you have a concern with a book, that you can take that to your local board through the directive of their policy. So that is up to individual school districts. And as far as my opinion on that book goes, that's an example of the top-down approach that I think needs to be left back in the hands of each individual school district.
Is the book in your school district?
Yes, I believe it is. Yes, in the library, you can select it, but it's not something that is required.
Mr. Jensen.
I agree with both of my opponents here that this really is a local decision, left at the local level. I think the role the State Department or State Superintendent can play, though, is working closely with school districts, helping them make sure they have policies for situations like this. Some of our larger districts may have great policies, but a lot of our smaller districts may need help in building those policies. One of the roles I would have is to work with the State School Boards Association, State Administrators Association, in helping strengthen local school boards, helping strengthen local administrators so they can be the best they can be, and help them develop policies that best serve their local communities. So when they get into a situation like this, they're following policy, allowing for voice, allowing for parent input, but they have a policy that they can follow and go with.
And again, the question for you, is the Part-Time Indian book in your classrooms?
It's not in my classroom, and I'm not even sure if it's in my library, sorry.
Let me do one more quick follow-up on this. When it comes to controversial books, and particularly we're talking about writing here, have any of the three of you ever had to ban a book in your tenure?
Yes, I have.
And what book was that, Mrs.
I cannot remember the name of the book, but we have had a book at the junior high level when I was the vice principal, and also had a book actually at the 4th grade level that we had to review as a committee and remove from the library, yes.
And what was the general consensus on why to remove that book?
The general consensus was it was not appropriate for that age level, and it was a group of parents that followed the policy, and we listened to them, and it was not correct for our culture and our school. So again, that's a great example of local control and the authority that each school district has to make those decisions.
Gentlemen, either in your cases?
Do you know what, we didn't ban a book, but we did have a book that we did go through this process, and what it did for us is we brought in parents and school board members and teachers that reviewed the book and actually helped us build new policy on how we would go through to remove a book. And so now we have a lot better policy in our district that we created at the local level.
We've not had that situation.
Maybe not yet.
Yet.
All right, we are going to give our candidates and our panel a quick break. We're going to take a quick break with you. Coming up next, we're going to hear the candidates' views on some of the hottest topics in education right now, including, as you first heard, the governor's task force. How do they really feel about those 20 recommendations? And also on the buzzwords, Common Core. Stick with us. You are watching the Republican candidates for state superintendent right here on your side.